Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers want to sell their homes for the most money that they can get, of course, and there are also some situations where people need to sell their homes and do it very quickly. How long does it take to sell a house in Colorado, and what are some of the options that most home sellers have?
Well, Richard, when we meet with home sellers, we actually sit down and ask them what are their goals? Like when do they want to move? And if they could, give us their ideal scenario, what is that? So we give them all the information. I don't hold anything back. I'll say, look, this is what similar homes have sold for. Here's your competition. Here's our cash offers. These people could close in 2.5 weeks. Or if you test the market, you could be sitting on the market for 4, 5, 6 months or longer and have no sale. So either way is fine with us. We're going to try everything to get you the most money, but it's hard to get people to embrace the idea of pricing it on the low end of the spectrum actually gets you more money. They think I'm crazy when I tell them that, but it gets you more money. And even if they're overpriced, and then they lower it down into the range where it should be, boom, we get a contract right away. So but we start with our goals. What are their goals? Some people want to time the market, some people, it just depends on their motivation and their goals. And then we take a look at the property as well, because not every house is beautiful. Some homes need repairs. Some people want to sell as is. I met recently with a seller that started packing because they thought they were going to move a while ago. And then that whole deal fell apart. So now their house is all boxed up and they don't want to unbox it because they are going to move. I said, don't worry, we got a plan for that. So we give them choices and solutions to their situation. And there are some homes that are a little bit harder to get financing on. Like I just took on a home that was taken back in foreclosure from the VA way out east, out in the prairie. It's on 30 acres. It was so shocking because when you looked at the old pictures of when the former owner had it, it was adorable. It was beautiful. It was well kept up. It looked like a great place. And I don't know, this last owner that let it go to foreclosure, it was when I got there and looked at it, it was an absolute wreck. They'd blown out bathrooms. It was just a mess. And so the problem is when they blew out bathrooms, now the plumbing doesn't work. So that takes away anybody getting a government loan unless you get a rehab loan, right? So it really depends on the home's condition, on the strategy of the sale. That is a factor of it. Or if you have more than one or two homes on one parcel, some lenders don't like loaning on those. Single wides are hard to sell. There's just all kinds of different situations which would dictate an appropriate pricing strategy. So how long it will take really pivots on A, the pricing, and B, the condition, and C, the seller's goals. So, traditional buyers really want move-in ready. They want to move in, drop their stuff, get on with their lives, and not have to fix anything. So you're going to create some automatic demand destruction if you offer a home completely as is. It's funny, in the descriptions in the MLSs, a lot of times we'll see what I call code that is some words that agents used to indicate that the house needs work. One of my favorite ones is TLC, tender loving care. To me, that word means the house is completely thrashed. And that's usually true. Just a little TLC, bring your paintbrush, handyman special, all those kind of things are probably an indication that it won't be going for traditional financing, but not necessarily. But a lot of the buyers now, because the prices are higher, the payments are higher, they're willing to take on repairs just to get into a home in a certain neighborhood if it needs a little bit of work. If a home's been completely gutted down to the studs, like I had one a few months ago that was owned by the VA like that, there's no way you could get traditional financing because all of the drywall was gone, all of the cabinets, everything in the bathrooms was just gone. So that one would take a lot of money to bring it to full market value. So there was a different price for that. We still had 20 offers on that one. But there are some flippers that will make a decent offer on a fixer upper. And then what about a new home? So if many builders, if you're a home seller and you want to build a new home, there are quite a few builders because the market is soft that will not accept a sale contingency. In fact, if you're going to build the house from the ground up, they won't even start the home. They won't reserve the lot unless you can remove your sale contingency, even though the build might take 6, 9 months a year, right? Because they don't want to build this home to your specifications and then, oh, sorry, I couldn't sell my house. And they got to sell it. Then they've got this ball and chain to sell to someone else. So there are some that will accept it, but you really have to ask the builders about their policy. But we have options for that. We've got also all kinds of great programs that can solve that problem, that can get your equity out of your home without you having to move twice. And just give us a call and we'd be happy to share any one of those with you. And then the other thing is cash offers. So this is a way to get her done in as little as 2.5 weeks. We actually have a proprietary platform that came from my coaching group that only my company has in this town, where we can show up with at least a half dozen cash offers on any property, and you get to pick the best one for you. And I'm talking about residential homes. I'm not talking about land. I'm not talking about multifamily, although there's a few that will do it. But more and more sellers are opting for these cash offer programs just for one main reason, and it's certainty. Certainty that their home is going to close on this day. Certainty that they're going to get the price that was promised in their agreement. Certainty that they know when they're going to move. Certainty that they don't have to worry about the deal blowing up over inspection or the deal blowing up over appraisal or the buyer just changing their minds or maybe not being able to qualify for financing even though they said they could. And on average, you might give up maybe a little bit of equity, 4 to 5%. It's not really that bad considering the bonus of certainty that you're going to get. And they are gaining more and more momentum because we're seeing a growing amount of home sellers accept these cash offers because of that certainty, because it gives them a sooner closing time, and because they know for sure they're going to get to the finish line without inspections, without appraisals, and all that crazy stuff. And they're great. There's different ones. There's some that, they're kind of as is. You give a little bit of equity up. But you know what? You get to the finish line in 2.5 weeks. There's others where you get paid some of your equity up front, and then they go on to resell it and they pay you again when it's resold and repaired for full market value. So one of the things that we bring to the table is options. Most agents, the only option is to do what I call post and hope. Stick it in the MLS, hope some other agent has a buyer so they get paid. That's what most agents do. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about really how long does it take to sell a house? It really depends on the seller's motivation. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about some benefits of accepting a cash offer program versus the traditional sale and how you can get one in as little as 24 hours. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get a quick cash sale, give us a call. It's better than just getting one offer. I've seen some people do some research and they see maybe 1 or 2 cash investors out there. We have 65 to 70 of them on our platform, and we're adding more and more buyers, including local investors, to it as we speak. So what we do is we put your home in that platform, and within minutes, it spits out a bunch of offers, and we can show up and explain them to you, and you can decide whether or not you want to proceed with that or not. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're interested in selling, you want to call Barb at 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about why would a home seller be interested in getting a cash offer on their home?
Well, there's a couple of important benefits. One of them is that no appraisal is required. Appraisals are primarily required by lenders to prove to the lender that's providing the money that the home is worth what the buyer agreed to pay. And another reason is they can close quickly. They don't have to wait around for because I've seen contracts get delayed sometimes for weeks over really dumb things, like the lender forgot to redisclose that the closing costs have changed and that adds a week, or this or that. Oh, I had one that just closed recently where when we did the septic check, oh, we got to replace the septic. And that took 3 full months just to get all that, just to get a bid. We don't even have the repair done. So with cash, you don't have to worry about all these failures. You have the certainty that it's sold. And for some people, it's the best case. Some people don't want strangers coming through their house. They don't want to deal with all that chaos. So, or they don't want to fix up their home and make it look real pretty for sales. So cash buyers don't really care how pretty it is. And we can do that for you. And they can also buy their next home first. That's really important for people, because most people won't move unless they have a destination in mind. So let's say they see a house that they just have to have that's in another state or in another neighborhood. Um, Chances are, if they make an offer contingent on the home selling, the seller is less likely to accept that offer because they don't have certainty, and they don't want to take their house off the market in hopes that maybe you'll get a buyer. I just went through that once with one of my sellers, and I tried to convince them not to do it. Sure enough, they did it. And then when that seller put their house on the market, it was priced, no kidding, Richard, 150,000 over market value. Now, do you know anybody that's willing to pay 150,000 over what it's worth for a house right now?
They're like gullible people in the world, but I don't even see them biting on something like that.
Yeah. And so it's just like, no, we're not, this isn't going to work. And then then they did an inspection and demanded stuff. And we're just like, no. And the deal fell apart, and then their want back. It's just another drama day in Barb's world. But anyway, it just wasn't going to be a solution, because if they're overpriced their home way above market value, how do we know when it's going to sell? And the problem is we have to tell the world that it has a contingent contract, and that creates demand destruction. Other buyers think it's not available. So we solved that. We're back on the market. We're getting showings, and it's going to go through. My name is Barb. And give me a call anytime at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard.
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how to sell a home in what has become a weakening market. Stay tuned for that.